read the objectives of Peter for the first speech, please?
Sure. So Peter's speech is titled The Bluebird of Happiness. It's an original story, 6 to 8 minutes, out of the manual, and his objective is to entertain the audience and possibly teach a life lesson. And also note that during Peter's speech, he's going to be in character. So when he refers to I, it refers to the character, not to himself, Peter Ash.
Thank you, Chris. And our first speaker, Peter Ash.
When I was in my 20s, I was lonely and unhappy. I would often go for long walks to try to lift my spirits. On one of these walks, I came across a small row of stores, and one of the stores caught my eye because of the interesting sign which read, "Everything you need." Curious, I walked into the store. It was the kind of place that would be run by a retired person with maybe 24 items for sale. Obviously not to make money, but just to keep the person busy. The shopkeeper greeted me. He was a wizened old man who appeared like he came from India. I looked around the shop a bit, and there was a display that caught my eye. The display were these glass birds, bluebirds. And there was a sign saying that these birds were bluebirds of happiness. And if you were to buy one, you would be guaranteed to be happy. I was skeptical. But the smallest size was only $3. So I figured, well, on a whim, okay, I'll buy it. And it looked something like this. A little glass bird. The shopkeeper said, "You've made an excellent choice. Have a good day." That evening, when I went to sleep, I had a very vivid dream. In it, I was dancing with a beautiful woman. When I woke up, I decided that I would finally go to the singles dance that I was held weekly and that I had been thinking about going to for the last year or two. When I got there, I met Kathy, and as soon as I saw her, it felt like I had known her forever. We fell in love. On the next Valentine's Day, I told her the story of the Bluebird of Happiness, and I gave it to her. After that, I decided to go back to the store and buy a second Bluebird of Happiness for myself. But when I got to the store, it was closed. Empty. There was a sign on the window saying "Store for rent." I figured that the old man had probably passed away. In less than a year, Kathy and I were married, and we signed on to go together to the Peace Corps in Nepal. She worked there as a nurse, I worked as a teacher. And in our spare time, we would trek in the Himalayas. And we were always looking for the elusive snow leopard. We never did manage to find it. After our 2-year stint, we came back to this country and we raised a family, 3 fine boys. We were married for 50 years. And then 2 years ago, Kathy died. I went to live with my son John. And once again, I found myself going for long walks to try to lift my spirits. Sure enough, I came upon the same strip of stores where I had been over 50 years ago. And the storefront now was an entirely different store. It said, "Fine furs and leathers." I walked in. The store was filled with these gorgeous coats and jackets. But the proprietor of the store looked exactly like the man I had seen over 50 years before. I figured it must have been his grandson. That's what I figured until he said, "How did that bluebird of happiness work out?" I was stunned. I told him about meeting and marrying Kathy, and he said, "Well, were you happy?" And I said, "We lived lives of service. We never gave much thought to whether or not we were happy." But yes, we were happy, very happy. The old man said, "Well, it's too bad that you never found that snow leopard in Nepal." And the hair on the back of my neck stood up. I had never mentioned Nepal, much less snow leopards. He said, "Here, I have something that might interest you." And he reached under a counter and produced a brown paper bag. And out of it, he took a pelt. It was a snow leopard. I was horrified. And I said, isn't this an endangered species? And he said, "Yes, it is. You won't believe how much money it cost us to get this past customs." I felt my anger rising in me towards the old man. I could have strangled him. And then I remembered how much I owed him. And I composed myself and I said, "No, thank you. I won't be buying anything today." And the old man said, "You have made an excellent choice. Have a good day." That night, I had another dream. In this dream, I was back in Nepal, and I saw the snow leopard on top of a mountain. And the snow leopard turned into Kathy. And I knew that I would be together with Kathy soon, and I was happy.